Alrighty, guys. What is up? So, what's up, guys? For those of you who don't know, um, or haven't seen yet, Marco Rubio, the Republican from, I think it's Florida. Is it Florida? I believe it's Florida. I don't, I don't quite remember, but I'm like 99% sure it's from Florida. Marco Rubio, Republican lawmaker, introduces a bill to suspend gun rights of anyone who's been investigated for domestic terrorism. Well, what exactly does that mean, and how can this negatively impact you? Well, we're going to take a look at that and figure that out. So this story was posted. What was it? What, like 2 days ago? Um, Republican lawmaker Marco Rubio has reintroduced legislation that seeks to suspend the Second Amendment rights of any person who has been investigated for terrorism related offenses within 10 years of attempting a gun purchase. Notice how it doesn't say that you have to be convicted or charged, just investigated, right? So, a Senate bill named the Terror Intelligence Improvement Act was re-entered last week in hopes of exploiting the hysteria surrounding the January 6th Capitol protests. Okay, I don't know why it says protests. They were riots. It was attack on the Capitol. I'm conservative, libertarian, and I can say that comfortably. I don't know why they say it's protests. It was a fucking riot, okay? The law intends to violate the civil liberties of American citizens who are not charged or convicted of a crime if somebody is deemed politically dangerous. See, and this is the big problem with Republicans. They never do what their constituency wants. All they do is sit on their butt, say no a bunch to a bunch of stuff that the Democrats try to push. They never introduce their own things unless it has to do with surveillance, like the Patriot Act. If it violates your privacy or has anything to do with terrorism, yeah, that's the Republicans' bread and butter. I can't stand it. I really can't. It annoys me, and I don't understand why people continually vote for people. And this just goes to show you that you can't actually trust any politicians, any of them that say that they stand up for your rights, unless they have a very, very good track record of doing so. You can't trust them because then they turn around and they do some crap like this. So, anyway, goes on to say, if passed, the law will grant the FBI and DNI the authority to draw up lists of U.S. citizens arbitrarily labeled domestic terrorists and flag them during background checks. Those placed on the new watch list could be registered based solely on suspicion, even if an investigation fails to find evidence of criminal or terrorist wrongdoing. Federal courts that have examined the FBI's various terrorist watch lists uncovered that the Bureau regularly places law abiding citizens on them because they don't like who they are or their political views. Exactly. This is the exact thing that. Okay, anybody who's watching this that has been on a no fly list, imagine that same crap happening, but now you can't buy a gun. You have almost, if not no recourse, in getting your name off that list because you have no way to contact the people and force them to take your name off the list. And the ways to do so are very expensive. So guess what? If you're on a no-fly list, chances are you have to drive everywhere for the rest of your life unless they just arbitrarily want to take you off the list. The same would apply to this. Now, for those of you who didn't watch my video, and for those of you who did, I posted a video. I did a live stream probably I think like 4 or 5 days ago about how Bank of America was releasing the information, the private information of people who made any type of transaction in DC. Uh, if you were from out of state and you made any transaction in DC, but specifically bought airline tickets, um, or you lived in DC and you bought airline tickets, or you know what? Let's just say if you bought airline tickets, period, and you were in or around DC or Maryland in or Virginia, if you bought any type of anything from any type of firearms uh, marketplace. So even if you went to like a gun shop and bought like just a bag or a T-shirt, because you bought something at a place that sells firearms, they gave all of your information, and you are under investigation for terrorist acts to the federal government. First of all, that violates your Fourth Amendment. But besides that, think about that. If you were just a random DC citizen who lives in DC, did not attend the Capitol riots, and went to a guns and gear shop and bought a T-shirt, you would be considered under this law that Marco Rubio wants to pass ineligible to purchase a firearm because you are under investigation for terrorism. You're completely innocent, you had zero to do with it, but simply because you were investigated, you're now on a list. Think about that. Think about how mind-boggling that is. This bill is disgusting. Just like Bank of America stealing your information and giving it to the government for no reason, also disgusting, but this even more so. Well, actually, you know what? I think they're tied. I think they're both just as disgusting. While Rubio's bill does provide optional redress for those targeted to obtain counsel and fight their designation, it would require individuals not charged or convicted of a crime to have to spend enormous amounts of money and time and gamble on getting a judge that upholds the Constitution just so they can exercise their gun rights. So, yeah, you have an optional redress. So it's basically like, well, you could pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to, pay for a lawyer that you really shouldn't need to fight for your rights back that you should have, and you might or might not get them back. It just depends on the judge. Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I'm sorry, that is bullshit. You don't get to take someone's rights just because you looked at him and went, he looks funny. No. Put him on the list. No, you don't get to do that. Okay? Well, as ongoing challenges to comparatively weaker state red flag law abuses show, challenging such decisions or even figuring out how they're made is like pulling teeth. Yeah, if you've ever been put on a no-fly list, if you've ever had to deal with red flag laws, you know exactly how difficult it is to have to try and get your rights back or try to be able to travel freely. Now imagine that and not being able to get your rights simply because somebody just looked at you and went, oh no, arbitrarily. The mixed record attorneys have had in combating the excesses of the Patriot Act since 2001 show that this mitigation option will largely be ignored by judges and those listed. While Muslim victims of federal surveillance and harassment power can sometimes count on the ACLU and others to defend the rights, said groups make it a point to refuse service to ordinary white people who have their civil liberties trampled. Now, I don't want to make this a race issue, but it seems like this would affect mostly Asians, white people, and maybe some black people. Because, I'm not sure how many ACLU cases like this they take for African Americans, but as this one says, it's specifically Middle Eastern Muslims, stuff like that. They'll take on those cases. specifically for like no-fly list and stuff, but they refuse everyone else. So, unless somebody else comes up with some other organization that would be willing to help people, you're on your own. The law's threshold for being put on the list is low. Under Rubio's legislation, being investigated for domestic terrorism, a vaguely interpreted offense mainly defined by partisan journalists and NGOs, which potentially millions of non-leftist Americans could be subjected to today, would nullify your ability to purchase a firearm. Now, I believe the reason they're saying leftist, non-leftist Americans in this article is because this is a right-leaning source. However, it makes sense. How many non-leftists do you know that have been targeted uh, for social media posts, for being on Parler, not even posting anything controversial, but just having Parler on their phone? How many people do you know that have been silenced or their accounts turned off on Facebook or Twitter just because they held the wrong ideas? Now make that into a law that takes away your gun rights. That's what this would do. It is terrible. Reporting by Tucker Carlson revealed that the FBI collected the bank records of hundreds of people who traveled or made purchases in Washington D.C. on the 6th without a warrant. Uh, A hotel worker who had attended a Trump rally near the Capitol but did not enter the building was investigated by the FBI, even though they had no probable cause to do so. The FBI would have the authority to put the aforementioned on this new list without any meaningful checks or balances. That's what I was talking about with the whole Bank of America thing. This person who just went to the rally, never went to the Capitol, would be on this list, as would however many thousands of other people that traveled there. Now, it says in the article, if you go and watch my other video, it said something like 200 or something like that people were given to the feds by Bank of America, but I'm willing to bet it was more than that. Rubio's brazen attack on the Second Amendment is a testament to the organizational decline of the NRA. In 2015, Senator Rubio, who at the time had presidential ambitions, led the fight against Senate Democrats when they tried to pass an almost identical bill. Today, Rubio somehow maintains an A+ rating on the NRA's website despite being a leading advocate for federal red flag laws and now political blacklists that will disproportionately harm his own voters. Laws like the Terror Intelligence Improvement Act are clogging up the congressional agenda. Did you hear that? Not even 6 years ago, he led the fight against the Democrats that did this. So either Senator Rubio is now a leftist, or he's always been a rhino. I'm willing to bet it's the first one. He only did what was politically expedient that he thought would get him elected. So he's doing this now. And the NRA, don't even get me started on the NRA. The NRA has never defended gun rights. They support FUD gun rights, okay? They don't support everyone's gun rights. They're the rifle, shotgun, old people that's what they consider guns. I'm sorry, but the NRA has had a hand in passing and supporting some of the worst gun legislation in the last century. And apparently, the NRA also just recently has refused to say some things about some of these other laws that are on the books right now. Do you know who truly supports firearms? GOA, Gun Owners of America, or FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition. Those are two organizations that I would gladly steer people towards. But I would never steer anyone towards the NRA. Does the NRA have a lot of power, and do they help people? Yes. I'm not going to deny that. They do help by filing lawsuits for people's gun rights outside of legislation. But when it comes to actual legislation that would affect the entire country, the NRA almost always stays silent or waits for other organizations to say something before they do. So they should not be the gold shining standard for anything, okay? So the A plus rating, I don't give a crap because that rating means nothing to me, okay? So this rhino needs to go. If he is seriously introducing this bill, vote him out. Vote him out. Put a libertarian in. Put another Republican that has a good track record. And dude, this guy's not even in my state, and I'm saying this, okay? I'm just get him out. Just get him out. Vote him out the next time you have the chance, because otherwise your state, your country is going to suffer when it comes to individual rights. There's another case that's up right now that's telling that's going to be able to tell whether or not police get to enter your home and confiscate your guns without a warrant. Okay? This country is going down a terrible, terrible dark path. But it's people like this that flip-flop for the convenience of getting votes that disgusts me. This man has no principles, because if he did, he would not be turning around and supporting this bill. I tell you guys, man, we're in dangerous times where almost everybody is a hypocrite, and almost everybody turns around and has zero principles when it comes to representing their constituency. There are only a handful of people that I can count, people I can count on one hand, maybe two, that I would say that sit in Congress that have always stuck to their own individual principles. And I really don't understand why more people don't flip on these politicians and vote them out when the time comes. I'm very much looking forward to somebody running against Rubio now, and I really hope that this does not pass. Because think about this. If you want to purchase 2,000 rounds of ammo off like, what's the criteria for saying that you maybe are engaging in domestic terrorist activities? Like, if you buy a bunch of ammo, would that be considered it? I bet you it would. If you I don't know, if you join an organization where you yourself are not actually really that much of a member, and then that group goes out and does something, but you have no idea about it, are you then put on this like, I don't, like, what is the criteria? I don't know, man. Anyway, I didn't want this video to be that long. I just wanted to get this out there and let people know that, hey, this guy is not who you think he is. And you know, just spread the word, you know. This and the Bank of America thing. If you guys like my videos, go ahead and like and subscribe. And, you know, go and watch the other video that I posted about Bank of America. We talk about quite a bit of stuff. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate those who view. Please like and subscribe, and share these videos. And, you know, just that would really help me out in growing my channel. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys, and have a good